Okay, it's 9:30 on Tuesday, July 18th. We're going to call the select meeting of the select board to order. First thing is additions and deletions.
So there's a few, I'd like to add a discussion today. I'd like to add a discussion of closing bus 4 roads with Mark Hunter being here. Discussion with the EDC, and then also a discussion about my vacation time.
Okay.
A lot, so I apologize, but a lot there.
Citizens' comments. There's seen none. Managers report.
Okay, so a few things. So obviously everyone knows what's going on with the storm we had last week and the current situation we are with water. The aqueduct now has the piping on site. They're working today to connect the correct piping that the state requires. When that is installed and water is flowing appropriately through it, they will get numerous testing for bacteria. They will submit that testing, and once that testing comes back clean in 24 hours, the state told us they will lift not only the no drink order, but also the no boil order. So at that point, Woodstock will have clean water to drink and to use. Because of the water breaks, we're still gonna ask people to conserve water, be mindful of how they use the water until we have adequate water up in the tanks. There is still about 10 pallets of water at the ESB building. If anyone needs water still, they can get water there. Today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have various state agencies from the state of Vermont at the high school providing assistance to residents. So anyone who's been impacted by the flood can go there. They're there supposedly 8 to 4 the next 3 days. Today, FEMA is there, representatives from FEMA, as residents from the Red Cross as well. I have yet to confirm if FEMA and Red Cross will be there Wednesday and Thursday. Ideally, they will be. But when I talked to them this morning, their supervisor was not on site, so they could not confirm they'll be there the following days. I apologize for the short notice, but I did not know FEMA was going to be there until I showed up this morning on site. But if anyone has any issues or needs someone to talk to, there will be people there that can help. The high school does have hockey camp going on, so there will be people, in the parking spots. So if you do show up, it may not be long lines, maybe just the hockey kids there playing hockey. So don't be deterred by that. With the storm damage, I just want to publicly thank again the DPW Director Mark Hunter and his crew, Chief Green, his crew, Chief Bush, and now Chief Swanson and their crew, working nonstop the last 8-9 days to make sure all the roads were open, that residents were safe, that there was water available, and then try and get out messages as quickly as possible. Their help has been invaluable in putting Woodstock in the best position possible after what we experienced. I also want to thank all the businesses and residents, there's too many to name, who have come out and supported the community as best they can, offering free housing, places for people to cook food, places for people to get water, and really offering to help the applications for FEMA and really just being out and visible and trying to help anyone that's been impacted and try to make it the best we can for people until all this is solved. So my thanks goes to everyone in the Woodstock community that's been out here helping us, and I really appreciate it. Moving on from the storm, there are 2 updates I want to give. I have in my possession a letter from now Police Chief Joe Swanson, former chair of the select board, submitting his resignation to the board. Now that he's police chief, he thought in his best interest not to hold the 2 roles. So I can pass that to board if you want. Yes.
I just got it. I don't know why I got it, but I got a text from Carrie Cole. Could you go to the?
Oh, she's not.
No one's letting people in. Sorry, it was for me because I didn't want to get up, so I was asked.
Oh, that was for you too?
I think so.
You want me to sit there? Yeah, if you don't mind, it'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know where.
I just want to carry with it on, and that was my first thought. Thank you.
There may be other people waiting to get on. Is that?
So now carries our repeats. So this morning I got a letter of resignation from Joe Swanson, stepping back from the select board, or stepping off the select board due to his new role as police chief of the Woodstock Village Police. So that means two things. One is we'll have to set the process for the board to have a new member. Then also the board will have to reorganize and elect a vice chair as well. But we can talk about that maybe later today in the meeting if we want. The other update I have is on Friday, the staff accountant Zoe Parent gave me her resignation letter. Her last day will be August 4th. So it's a 3-week notice. I just want to thank her for all the work she's done in the time in Woodstock, and wish her the best of luck on whatever her next venture is. So that is my manager's report. Any questions on that? No. Okay. You have the financial report as well. The fiscal year is over, but not over. The last payroll has been done. But as we know, bills can trickle in, for a month or so afterwards. But based on everything we've seen, we should be in pretty good spots financially anyways to end the year. So that's a positive. And we're now on FY24 with payroll and everything else. So it's start fresh and kind of go from there.
Okay, thank you. Old business, the sewer line agreement, Woodstock sewer line.
Yep, so this is supposed to be covered in the last meeting, but due to time constraints and lack of quorum after an hour, we push it off. So this is sewer work that has to be done by the Bayside Lounge down on Route 4. About 5, 6, 7 years ago, the state came in and had an agreement to kind of just look at and do an assessment on what was going to happen. I believe it was around $15,000 at that point. Due to the work that has to get done and that a sewer line is going to interfere with their work, it now has increased to about $150,000. The state can force us to do the work the way it lines up. So we're kind of in a situation where we don't have any options here. The work won't start until the summer of FY24. But this has to be signed and sent back to the state immediately so they can start the work.
The draft I have still says Town of Hartford.
The one I had, you're talking,
The one in our packet still says at the,
the one I printed out to Howard too, I'd asked them to change that. Let me see if I have a more updated one in my
Okay.
email.
Perfect.
And I don't know if my email to him change it came last Friday, 2 Fridays ago or not. So it could have been that issue as well.
So we need a motion for this? I'm assuming?
Yeah.
I would move we sign the supplementary agreement number 1, provided that the third or the revision at the bottom of the first page is changed to Town of Woodstock.
Not
rather
Hartford,
than Town of Hartford.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1 absent. And then
There's no absent, there's not,
over here,
Yeah.
where's that?
well,
Yeah. Missing, how's that?
No, he resigned.
Oh, and just one thing about Mr. Swanson, I forgot to mention. He wanted to be here in person, but as police chief, he felt it was his duty to attend the funeral of the officer who passed away last week. So he's there in his capacity as police chief of Woodstock to show their support to Woodstock.
Potential closure of Cloudland Road. Is there any update? We haven't heard from the town, Concord, or,
No updates on there, and that has gone through me at least.
so I think we can table that till we hear from them.
this gentleman
Oh, I'm sorry. Please step up and state your name. I got one in, all right.
My name is Michael Doughton. I'm on the,
Go,
okay. I'm sure if I was supposed to sit at the big table here. I'm Michael Doughton, 3488 Cloudland Road in Pomfret. And I just wanted to let you know that we are presenting to the Pomfret Select Board tomorrow night a plan for closure of Cloudland Road and Barbary Hill Roads during the foliage season, not the whole foliage season, about 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll be presenting that plan. I don't feel like I can really say anything about the plan itself because they haven't approved anything yet. They haven't even actually seen it yet. But that's the update at this point. So it is moving forward. We just don't have.
So once you folks have your plan in place, then you can come back to us.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So just to add a quick thing that relates to this.
Yeah.
So, Michael and, well, I guess officially from the town of Pomfret has asked the EDC to consider possible grants to help pay for the project that they're thinking about. And we've communicated and told them that the time frame for us to consider it to fit into other things is this year, but not this month. And we've said that we will, and we pointed out the difficulties of the past discussions about assigning funds to other towns.
Right.
But we've said that we will include it on the list of things to consider and that it would probably be in October or November that we would consider.
But this
Yes, sir.
also affects Woodstock residents at that end of Cloudland Road.
Correct.
Correct. And
Correct.
we didn't say we wouldn't do
Yeah.
it. We were, I tried to be, I sent the letter to you. I tried
Yes,
to
yeah.
Be neutral and just
Yeah.
give them the background of the discussions and said we will absolutely consider it. It's on the list of options as we do our impact of tourism analysis on Woodstock. This is now on the list of things for us to consider.
Right.
But I just that we couldn't consider it this month. We would have to wait. We have other options. It'll be later in the year.
All right, well, I think, see,
That was what I said.
Yeah.
If the select board.
I
thinks
think,
differently.
I think that we need to see what the town of Pomfret comes up with, then maybe
Yeah.
even just an emergency meeting. sometime.
I'm just telling you, absent any
Yeah.
direction by the select board, that's what I just wanted you to be aware of that conversation. takes place.
And to that EDC funding, the one piece of the closure will actually happen in Woodstock. So it will be on the Woodstock end of Cloudland Road.
Yeah.
And as you noted, that would affect Woodstock residents as well.
Okay, great, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, new business request for local government certification.
I'm confused by this because we did this already.
Cool.
Trying to find it in the packets. I can't find it.
I don't know, midway through. I don't have pages. It's about the Historic Preservation Commission, and we did one of these both for the town and for the village, and we appointed a committee.
What page do you have on that? Sorry.
I don't have,
75.
75, sorry, there are pages. It was submitted by, I think, Matt Powers, who's the
There it is.
director of the History Center. I guess we table it since he's not here.
We did do this.
Yeah, we did. Definitely.
Yeah, I think there's a question, and Nikki's not here. I think there's a question on whether it was put in effect or not. Thank you. If we want to move quick out of order, maybe talk about class 4 roads, I'll look up this stuff on the Historic Center.
Or we could just table it for the next,
Yeah, we can table it if you want.
yeah, let's just table it. He's not here. Then the next item is the South Woodstock wastewater treatment plant.
So this is more just to have a conversation about having a possible public forum for the residents who talked about the design of the South Woodstock, the new plant. Since I've started here, there's been discussions about what's going on. We have some quotes from Daniels that I presented earlier in the spring. But now that the plant is kind of almost finished, I think the residents want to at least have a chance to discuss what they think of the current design, what they want going forward. And so I think it's good to maybe have some kind of public forum where the residents can come and discuss what they want. And it can be just a form itself and with no decision afterwards, but I think an opportunity for them, let them know to come. And also residents who may be against it and don't want to spend the money can come as well and talk about it. So I think with the board's permission, we can kind of organize some kind of forum in the next few weeks.
Sure.
That works.
I would offer up the South Woodstock Fire Station, but we wouldn't be able to do Zoom because the last time I tried to do Zoom from there, the signal wasn't strong
Yes,
enough.
that's fine.
So if we met at the fire
Yeah,
station,
when
would
would we do this?
Let's see what Eric and I will work that out. We'll
Yeah.
figure out something. Other business.
So let's go in maybe order of ease. I'll start with my vacation. So I was supposed to be on vacation this week. With that said, my 6 months starts on August 1st. The personnel policy says that employees can't take a vacation until 6 months into their time. I may try to take a day or two next week, depending on the water. So I just want the board's approval to take vacation time next week if possible.
so moved.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bill.
Next, Mark Hunter's here from the DPW to talk about class 4 roads closing. I don't know if you want to. This came up, a resident talked about, I think it was ATVs going through.
No, it's a Jeep club.
Oh, yes.
Like they are, I heard through over the weekend, they meet at a coffee shop outside of town. There was roughly around 40 Jeeps that use the class 4 roads in town. There's one class 4 road in particular on the end of Arthur Morgan. I have been having a hard time redirecting the water, that runs off of that road. It runs down Arthur Morgan. But the rain that we had last week, it washed out the whole top of the road. There are a couple camps or houses on some of the class 4 roads, so we can't. I would like to just close them for the Jeep club. They're beating the heck out of the roads, and I can't keep up with the runoff that comes out there.
Mhm.
So right now it's doing a lot of damage.
I think the one off Eastman is
Yep.
similarly challenged.
Yes, yep. So there's a culvert that I need to address also.
Yeah.
On that road.
So the hope was to close it for at least a few weeks till it dries out and.
Hopefully that the rain holds out and then we can open them back up.
Is there a way to phrase it that it's not just that Jeep club, that it's non-residents? Would that make sense?
Or residents only?
Yeah,
Yes, residents only.
Right.
That can
Mhm.
use it. Yep.
I think that, yeah.
Makes good sense.
So I'll entertain a motion.
And can I just, Mark, do you want a time frame on it or do you want on your own judgment? or-
Hopefully, I mean, I can't predict the weather, but hopefully at some point the rain lets up and then they can go out there. So
So I don't know if we want the motion to be a month or it can be opened up under Mark's guidance.
I
I
think
think
it,
that makes sense.
yeah, I did a motion to close the roads until the highway.
I would just say until further notice.
Yeah,
no further
Till
notice.
further notice, yeah,
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
all right, I'll make,
Where's the resident?
I know Eastman has a house or camp on there. I mean, it's, people go out there with their horses or whatever. But that Jeep club is really doing a lot of damage on them. So 40 Jeeps, or one Jeep is probably okay, but when that whole club gets together and there's 40 of them that go through there, they're doing a lot of damage out there.
The president say they can come to that camp.
Yes, yep.
So, horses would be, oh, I'm just trying to think of in South Woodstock, at least of GMHA. I don't know what kind of trail rides they have coming up, but
Yep.
are the horses creating damage or is?
No, I don't see any damage for any of the horses, so that if they have any trail rides coming up for the horses, the Jeep Club is going to impact that.
Right,
you
So
know.
just motor vehicles,
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
no
how will
non-resident
we
motor
notify?
vehicles until further notice.
Yes,
That's right.
And so just change, we can put up roads.
yeah, I do. There are chains, yeah.
okay,
There's one at the end of Long Hill also.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of them.
so somebody monitor that on the weekends, to make sure they don't cut the chain.
Well, I can put, we
or-
could put some signs out or
Yeah.
post it on the
Or just
list.
let the police know which ones are closed and have
Yeah.
them
Yep.
check it. Cause, you never know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I have both cutters in my car, so.
We don't know why, right? We don't-
so I guess we kind of made the motion.
Yeah.
Second,
All those in favor?
Ah,
Um,
thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Last one is conversation with the EDC. And
Thanks. So Eric and Ray had a conversation, and Ray called me yesterday about an issue that the EDC was already considering, but we'll sort of formalize it based on this, to consider developing a program to support local businesses who need funding as a result of the flood. There's a special meeting now scheduled for Thursday night at 6:30. We have a quorum. I've sent you the yeah, oh, you have
that's fine. Yeah,
okay. An initial draft of the agenda. I've asked EDC members if there are other issues that they would like to have included. And then we'll make a recommendation to the select board. I suspect the EDC will support this. This is similar to what we did during COVID. I suspect that in this particular case, the dynamics of the program that we would develop are somewhat different. That was a very small amount of money, immediate, with no criteria. And we made it pretty clear, actually, we made it explicit at the beginning that if the financial distress continued, there would be no need for payback. We gave out 58 grants of about a total of about 58 people, organizations to about $60,000 or $65,000. So some of them applied twice, which we allowed. 4 of them paid it back. I don't want to put any constraints on the discussion for the EDC, but I've included my own personal initial thoughts about some of these issues. I'll just quickly go through them. Are businesses in need of financial support? Probably. I say that, put that issue on the table. I don't think we'll debate it for too long, but we have gotten no requests. But I think it's reasonable to assume that some will. Who should be eligible? My thought is that FEMA has thought through that this program is for flood relief. FEMA has thought through what applies or doesn't apply. And so anyone that was eligible for FEMA, whether they received it or not, but anyone who's eligible for FEMA would be eligible for our program. That's a thought. Should we be considering loans or grants? The EDC has already discussed this issue in general, and loans are for for-profit businesses. And we've done surveys of the community that they understand that in emergencies, loans or grants are okay, but in general, they would prefer that we not dedicate funds to for-profit businesses unless there's a public accommodation. Like in return for this, it's not just that in return for this, we'll stay in business. But this is a special situation, so that wouldn't apply. So low interest loans, probably preferable to grants. What amount should be involved? I think that's unclear. It's clearly more than $1,000, which is what the COVID one was. I don't know. And that question about what amount should be involved, I think affects the answer to the next question. Should we consider applications on a rolling basis or at one time? I would suggest that if we do have a program, whether it's loans or grants, that we have the program at one time, quickly, or 2 weeks from now, here's an application, we see what the total of the applications are. And so that we can then make the right decisions rather than doing it on a rolling basis and then so. What would be the terms of the loan? Again, in my view, it would be a loan program and it would be a bridge loan until FEMA funds become available. And so we could dispense the funds immediately. We have, and just to the point that Ray, you and I briefly, I think you and Eric briefly discussed, I don't believe there is a need, and I think it would be, I have some real concerns about putting any of the existing programs that have already been approved on hold in order to fund this. We have significant funds in the bank because we've made way significantly more grants than the grantees have called on. And they don't call on, so we will at our meeting, I can't do it right now because it requires a fair bit of analysis, but we will in our meeting identify exactly how much funds are not yet called on and how much are likely that are called on are likely to not be called on. I don't believe we would have to put any other programs on unless we decided to, put $500,000 into this. I think if it was $100,000 or that order of magnitude, we would not have to pause any other programs. So that's what we will consider. I also, triggered by Eric, your discussion about people appearing at the high school or wherever the agencies are going to appear. We will definitely arrange a webcast with the Small Business Administration, and promote, and we'll manage. I mean, there's not much for us to do other than get the SBA to come, and maybe you could be helpful with that. We can discuss it, but that's what we did at COVID, and it was attended by a lot of businesses. So we'll basically, I don't know, within a week or something. I don't want to promise, but I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure we can do it, or maybe we can get them to come. But if we can't get them to come, then having a webcast is something else that we will do. Because ultimately, I think FEMA and the Small Business Administration are going to be the entities that make these loans available. And my idea is that what we would do is provide some capital as bridge loans until those are available. Although what I've just read this morning is that the SBA is going to consider these loans within 2 to 3 weeks of application. So, I mean, that's really fast. So anyway, that's sort of the situation, more information.
And the FEMA, the repayment, the FEMA that's going, that extensive, that the extended, the net won't get the money from FEMA right away.
That's what this program would be designed to fill that gap. Now whether we can't fill all of the gap, but it would be designed to, presumably if FEMA is going to give you funds in 2.5 or 3 months, for $250,000, you might benefit from $25,000 now. And I think since it would be short-term bridge loans, I don't think charging interest or anything like that there's no need to do that. It's not a lot of money and it just makes things complicated. So anyway, this is sort of an agenda for Thursday night's meeting. If you have other additions to the agenda of issues you'd like us to consider, you can tell me now, or you could tell me over the next 2 days. And then, of course, like anything, we will come back to the select board with a recommendation of whatever it is, and we'll come back immediately. We'll come to some decision on Thursday.
So what if the businesses aren't eligible for FEMA money? That would be one.
Yeah. So we discussed, so just we a couple of on the EDC have already started to discuss that.
Okay.
I have my personal view on that, but something I like to consider too is just the different needs of different businesses. What the butcher needs and what Corbin needs is probably very different. What the inn needs, what other restaurants need compared to what a coffee shop needs could be very different.
Well,
And so I just to consider, the scope of what some places may need. Like some places may not be able to open until we have one of the breaks completely repaired.
Right.
Because the water level may not just be there. So like that need may be a longer term, more serious need than a smaller shop.
Okay.
I know businesses, some of them brought in their own water to do dishwashing,
Right.
That's great, but a restaurant can't do that, so they're gonna be out longer. So what can we do for them? So just kind of have kind of a larger idea of how the needs could be different for different businesses.
I think this actually, using different words, is really exactly the same question that Ray is asking.
Yeah.
Right, if FEMA, for example, doesn't consider that.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just since you've invited me, my view is that FEMA has thought exactly about these questions hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. They're tricky issues always, but I think the issues are always exactly the same in any community. And they've figured out how to draw a line.
Mhm.
And so what I think, it's 2 days from now, what I think I'm gonna advocate with the EDC, and just one vote, is that we should follow, that if it's eligible for FEMA, not if you get the FEMA money, because actually one thought is, look, if you're eligible for FEMA and they run out of money, you're still eligible for our program. But that we should use the FEMA eligibility requirements, because they've figured out the difference between, gee, I could really use this money because I could expand my business, and we had a flood, these things happened, now, and so I just have to trust. So I'm going to argue that we follow the FEMA guidelines, because we can't do, because they've thought about it a lot better, and that hopefully, I have to assume would take into account what you've just described. Hopefully.
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing is I'd be concerned with is if FEMA doesn't fund businesses that have closed because of not water damage, but lack of water.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, we could certainly, actually, you know what? Why don't, I said we were gonna have a webcast with the SBA, but can I say SBA/FEMA? And maybe we can work together to figure out how.
Yeah.
How to engage with FEMA on this. I think it sounds like these are the kind of questions that they could really help with.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be, yeah, okay.
I would think some of the larger businesses might have some business interruption insurance that would help them as well.
And
Who knows?
presumably FEMA puts itself
It's-
below insurance, I mean,
Yeah,
not ahead of insurance.
That's always below.
Yeah.
And your
so-
budget's obviously going to be impacted because of the closure of,
Right.
meals rooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Is 6:30, that meeting is
Regular
Thursday.
time, Thursday, yeah, it's like our regular day and time, but not date. Yeah. And it will be in person here if your family is still visiting. So is that what you had wanted
Yeah.
to?
Yeah, this is great, yeah.
Okay, please send me emails up until, I mean, I'm gonna post this as an agenda late tonight, so it'll appear in the listserv, but we can always add issues. So if you or EDC members will add to this list, and I presume there's no issues we should take off the list. Yeah, okay. Okay,
Great, thanks, John.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for raising this too. We were moving on it, but not as quickly, and you caused us to move more quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Am I at the end of the computer now?
Yes, I think you'd be good, yeah.
And I'll talk to you about moving wires at some point.
No, I can just send down it too. It's not a big deal. Usually Nikki's
Not
on.
me today.
The next is
Is
the
it
sewer
fine?
permit.
So it starts on page 81.
So the first one is 853 Rose Hill Road. This is to increase sewer usage.
So they're just changing a apartment into a bed and breakfast.
And that doesn't involve any additional fee, it appears?
In addition, what, sorry?
Fee,
No, not right, not for the sewer, no.
okay.
Then you want to do these all at once or one at a time?
Right, I think one, maybe.
I'd move to approve this one.
Okay,
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then next.
next is Olson.
Olson.
This one I would assume has a significant fee. There's no indication of it that I see, or maybe I'm,
So increase of 442.
oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's on the back page.
And there's no fee for this either?
No, there is $2,602.50.
On page 86.
I'd move to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
61 Central.
Oh, this is big.
The address is on Stay in Terrace.
Yeah.
So again, the fee is $6,300.
I'd move to approve.
Second?
There's Mark looked at that Clayton Terrace Road.
Yes, he's been up there, yeah.
Okay. All right. All those in, I just saw that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Pass. Want to go into an executive session?
Yeah.
Minutes, or we'll do that after.
We'll do that. Thank you.
You want to vote? Yeah.
Can you get Kerry on your phone or? Or I can,
Yeah.
executive session. the other-
Oh, in the room, okay, sure.
Oh, do I need to get my phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll call you.
Okay. I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Sorry, Gary.
So we just
Thank-
said, should we wait to reorganize the board till we have a new board member?
I don't think so, because I don't think a new member would fill any of the roles.
Then we can
If you want to do it now, that's fine.
reorganize now then.
So I'd nominate Susan for vice chair.
All those in favor?
Um,
And-
Opposed? Nobody opposed?
Are you gonna oppose yourself?
You can't.
And do we need to formally appoint Ray as chair? He's been
Yes.
acting, so
Yeah.
I would move
Oh.
Ray as the chair.
I would second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. If I'd known that, I would have nominated somebody else. Okay, approval of the minute. You want to look at the minute?
I've looked at them in, times.
All those in favor of approving the minutes?
I was not here for May 2nd, so I'm going to abstain from that one. Other than that,
Okay, so we'll vote on May 2nd first. All those in favor of May 2nd minutes?
Aye.
All those in favor of minutes from
Okay. move.
all in favor of the minutes, 5:16, 5:23, 5:31, 5:31, and 6:20, all those in, make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Motion made and approved, all those in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
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 The motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second, all those in favor,
Second. Aye.
Aye.
meeting's adjourned, thank you.
Thank you.
Um, the